Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I truly don't know what to say. That was incredible.
Yep.
That was an experience for sure. Oh my god, that had everything, dude.
It did.
Are you kidding me?
That was like basically that was like a little mini movie, bro. To be honest with you, for 45 minutes, that was a movie. Like that
People
was
are
a
gonna
little
be
mini
happy with
movie.
that. People are gonna be very happy with that, man. Oh, they're gonna love it. Oh, no way.
All right. So look, normally, I'm just gonna put this out here. Like, we're in the middle of the review now, guys. If you hadn't seen the episode, Halo Season 2, Episode 4, Reach, the fall of Reach has begun. And I I told Busy last episode that I was like anticipating this getting really rough and bad, but they took what I thought and they knocked it out the
Man,
park. That's easily one of the best episodes of the series, not just this
without a
season.
doubt, and from both perspectives, man. From someone who is a like a diehard fan, and from someone that's just experiencing the story for the first time. Truly, I feel like I was feeling all of the emotions, but for him to experience, you know, you did say at one point, I felt like I was playing the game. And as someone who is new to this, that makes me feel so good that you're feeling the emotions. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling it too, but I can only imagine what's going through your head right now.
Oh
Like
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. And again,
And
so you guys, we're gonna go into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episode, just watch it and then come
mhm,
back. Watch
mhm.
it and come back because yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. What you
And
gonna say?
last episode, like I said, like you said, like you were like, okay, the next two episodes are probably gonna be insane. I might just record your reaction just so we can see, how crazy it gets. And I am so glad you did. Cause the amount of times my jaw was touching the bottom of like my feet was touching the ground, it was ridiculous. Like I don't know. I can't believe they turned it from 0 to 100 that fast and they made it work. It didn't feel forced. I mean, considering last episode ended the way it ended with that big explosion, I understood shit was going to be crazy. I didn't realize that the entire city was going to fall. Like I understood like we were in trouble, but to see the aerial view and to see like literally the entire city burning, it was an insane shot. And speaking of from like a cinema, if you will, point of view, the amount of crazy shots, like this episode was just filled with so many beautiful moments. It was insane. I don't even know.
Yeah, and there's a character that I've been eagerly anticipating, and they've shown him, but Busy doesn't know, and I kind of was keeping my mouth shut about it. But this character right here, he is a rival, and I'm gonna leave it
Okay,
at that. I'm not gonna say anything more.
I had some feeling.
But in this episode specifically,
You see it.
the last moments, you can feel that there's something going on there.
Hmm.
Like both of them are just going at it. And like
Hmm.
I think the crazy thing about it is when the moment happened, like Chief jumped over the railing with
Dude,
just a gun
dude.
and watched me work. And honestly, like this other character was ready for it. He was ready for the smoke. And there hasn't been any other like elites or other entities that have like
Can hold their own.
not I mean, not even just that, without fear or hesitation. He didn't
Okay.
hesitate. He was like ready to engage him. Man, he said something. I couldn't make it out because we were too busy yelling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But he said something right before he engaged with Chief that I was like, oh. So
And
anyway.
this was a challenge to him. Like this is something that's personal, like
Mhm.
the fact that somebody else even dared to go for the kill, like he took it personally. And we
Yeah.
saw that the way that it just showed how brutal he was to just take out one of his own was
Yeah.
just, I mean, such a fire introduction.
Yeah.
We did see this character earlier. I believe that they showed him when they revealed. Was he actually one of the first ones that appeared on the
Mhm.
planet? Because
Mhm.
I think he was the one that
First
that
episode.
first pulled it away. But then we saw him again in that hallway scene where he had his Darth Vader moment
Mhm.
with with the light with the energy sword. making all of the light in the room kind of show who he was and all of that badass moment. But to see him here and to just you can feel like the tension. Like
Yeah,
I'm not even familiar with this dude, but
yeah.
immediately when he popped up, you were like, oh, here he is. Like you said something, and I'm like, oh shit, what am I about to see, bro? Like, what is gonna happen?
Yeah,
Like for this, I don't know, man. They just everything was done perfectly. This was just such a banger of an episode.
yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous.
And it's crazy too because they found a way of shutting the people up that have been so irritated with these Spartans not having their armor on, right? So we know them to be these characters.
Mm-hmm.
But in this, there's levels of vulnerability when you don't have any kind of armor, but you're still a freaking pound and you
Mm-hmm.
show it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, dude, like I think how they did it so well is, we started off, they were back in the church. They got out of the church and he's picking her up. And they were watching things exploding around them. Like sometimes you can kind of play it off and then you get to the action moments here or there.
Mm-hmm.
When they got to the civilians and all of a sudden Chief noticed it, he dove on that Joker through the glass and started like punching him and doing what he could. That's when I knew, okay, this is they're going for it. The actor that's playing the role of John, I know he loved every bit of this because he got to put
dude,
in that work. He put
dude,
in that piece
yeah.
of work, dude.
Like I honestly thought we were gonna get like I didn't know how many amazing action sequences we were gonna get, but they just kept coming. When it first happened, when we just see like I don't think they even showed us the outline of the Covenant soldier, I forgot what they're called, before anything.
Oh, the
And then
elites.
the
Yeah.
elites, excuse me. And then you just see John go full on Ray Lewis linebacker and just tackled him through the glass.
Yep.
And I'm like, whoa, what is going on? And then you just see him giving him the hands, bro. Like he was getting all of his licks in. And this is him without armor. This is him without any weapons.
Right.
And of course that ended up leading to him meeting the woman with the antique shop, which I thought was hilarious because for us that's like 30-year-old, content or 30-year-old, I mean, pieces of tech. And for them it's like almost 1,000 years old. So
Yeah.
it's just it was so awesome to see I don't know everything about this. I can't believe it was only 40 minutes. Like that's just I really don't, bro.
Like how did you get us to this point? Because
For real.
I mean, even with the conversation with the woman, it came from a real place. Like
Mm-hmm.
she basically was like, if we don't allow ourselves to even feel and we're just thinking about war, then what's the point? What are you protecting?
Mm-hmm.
And it harpens back to even the lady that kind of called him something in the beginning. Like it's weird. Like every single episode, there's been like an older woman that says something
Yeah.
about him, attributing to who he is.
Yeah, did we
Um,
get something in episode 2? Because in episode 3, I know we got even Perez's mom saying, like, the devil follows you wherever you go.
mhm.
So what, like, I mean, it could be a severe pattern. If
Yeah,
if if I can remember it, if someone said something in episode 2,
yeah,
maybe it was the older woman who said something, the one who was clearly not, the one that wants her power back. I just can't
yeah,
remember, but all I know is that was just done. So it was great, man. Because immediately I'm like, the parallels between this woman and the woman from the first episode of season 2, the one that was refusing to evacuate because she already ran away once and she wasn't doing it again, and
mhm,
she was just her and her entire cult had the same attitude. They were willing
yeah,
to die with their planet, and I don't know what it was, but it just I just saw such a relation in between the two, and then just the way John reacted to those situations, they were entirely different. It just shows that he's grown a little bit or whatever, because I'm pretty sure he was rooting to get them all out of there, but
yeah.
here he was respecting her
Or
wishes.
wishes. Yeah,
You know
she
what I'm
like
saying?
tapped him on the shoulder, and he
Mhm.
knew full well because even the
There's
second
no changing
episode,
her mind.
the admiral basically kind of said like, "You're a soldier, like you know what your function is supposed to be," and she
Yep.
kind of posed that and reinforced it, and
Yeah.
then reneged the next episode. But um, with this, it was a very intimate moment and a very real one because even Perez had a conversation with him, like, "How can you so callously like?" let this go. Like she said several different moments. She was like, you're just watching all this death happen and you're just moving.
Like
And
you're
then
numb to it. Yeah.
right. And then later on, when they were like having a small interaction, she was like, is that it? Like
Mhm.
you went through all this and just okay, well, thank you.
And
And good.
it really shows like how much he's gone back to, like, I guess his roots. I mentioned this earlier, like he's more human than he's ever been. But at the
Yeah,
end of the day, he knows what he knows.
yeah,
And he's gonna respond how, he's used to responding. And I mentioned that, like, he's at the point where he is, when something terrible happens like this, he's so quick to action. He responds with the plan. He doesn't respond by mourning, by showing any, like, uh, 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 mental stress or whatever. He's doing what he can to stay focused. And that's what he was doing. And then obviously Perez was just, she's not used to that. She's thinking the worst immediately. Like you're
yeah,
a heartless bastard. But at the end of the day, this is how he is. This is who he is.
yeah,
And to see him, I think, in that mindset, I feel like is the only reason she's still alive. The only reason why many people are alive is because he is such a quick thinker and is so quick to react in that manner. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So it's really cool to see him, even though he's able to react on his own, to still decide to put the others first before giving him time to process what actually is going on.
yeah. And he alluded to two different things with the conversation with her. It was one, like death absolutely follows him. Like he knows when something bad is about to happen. Almost like he got like a precognition of when things are
And we
gonna
saw that
happen.
with Soren.
Yep. Yep. He knew something was coming before they got there.
Hmm.
And the interesting thing with the other side of that is he kind of was like talking about the coin and he was
Exactly.
like I I know
I didn't guess.
I'm going to continue to move forward, but everyone around me is they're going to lose one way or another and I got to figure
Honestly,
out that.
the way I saw it is like I wasn't sure. I don't know anything about Master Chief's abilities. I don't know if they were showing that he can see a few seconds into the future, or if he like has just a force sense like that. Because I mean, when they were talking, when you're flipping a coin, it's chance, dude. Like,
Mhm.
especially if someone else is doing it,
Right.
it's chance. So for him to say straight up, like I got it 11 times right, and the reason was because I didn't guess, I knew.
Mhm.
That like is a huge hint to me, at least, because I don't know anything. So I am like, feel free to say what you want to say, but that's kind of a fair hint that he can foresee what's gonna happen. I mean, I feel like he said it right in front of us. Like, I didn't guess, I knew that it was gonna be heads every single time. Like, it's
Yeah.
insane.
Um man,
It's
it's
just like there's just so many moments here that I feel like they're kind of showing or giving us a hint of some of his power sets, and I feel like they just continuously throw something new at us, and I'm just getting caught off guard every single time, and it's what I enjoy because, like I said, I know nothing about this, so the fact that they're constantly giving us new stuff is just me as someone who's just new to Halo. It's
Mhm.
been really entertaining. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's if you ever busy got a Xbox system or you want to use your PC, the I think Halo Master Chief
They got it on
remastered
360
collection, they have like from game one all the way.
because
So
I
no,
know I got my Series S, and I be playing like 360 games on it. I've been playing Black Ops 2, so like I'm actually, after this episode specifically, I am so encouraged. Like, I am motivated
yeah,
to check that out.
get the remastered Halo Master Chief edition because it's got all the games all in one
Okay.
for a flat rate.
Wow.
Anyway, the other thing about this episode is the action, the choreography
Hmm.
and how they execute everything.
Okay.
Because there was one shots going through where they started an action scene and they honed in on it. They changed persons and they kept building on top of the the possibility of death or the anticipation of things blowing up. And I thought it was just so well done because it didn't feel like a lot of CG. This felt really practical. Like they use CG, of course, from the gunfire going and buzzing around, but in terms of like the actual physical combat that was going on, it was just so perfectly executed that it felt
Okay.
like a real war. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I don't know. What did you think about like their approach to action in this and choreography?
Man, it's just gonna continuously bring me back to that one shot. The way they handled that, the way that, like, I don't know, the choreography, absolutely insane. you felt how real it was when someone would die and they didn't really stand on it. You know what I'm saying? They quickly would hover over it and move on because that's unfortunately how it is. The only character that they really just sat on for a little bit was Venick, and that's because he's a Spartan. Even with the two characters, I am so terrible with names. We just jokingly just continuously called him Tobias,
Yeah,
because we were just so familiar with him rocking that role, like absolutely killed it. But for him to see his husband die, and then for him to like of course have his own piece of dialogue, like I'm exactly where I need to be. Like it's just oh man, it was just you knew it was coming, and it's like when you look at it, it's crazy to believe how many characters we lost in this episode. And part of me kind of feels like we lost Kai too, because I know she's not dead, but the idea that she went with Ackerson, I don't know how much she knows, but how well Ackerson's able to manipulate people, I'm so worried for the future of her character and John's character. It's just it's worrying me.
yeah, because she left them basically. Regardless if she knew that a war was coming, she decided to leave her team behind
Hmm.
to take him somewhere. And I don't know if he convinced her to put a chip back in her head. I don't know if he convinced her with promises of where things are going to go, but he's all about control. But
Hmm.
to your point, like when we saw the first death with, I would say Tobias, his
Husband.
partner, um, and the way that Riz reacted to it, and she just kind of just was like she didn't know how to process it, but then she knew immediately switch that back on and go back
Hmm.
into the fight, and then they showed this dope shot of her jumping out the freaking window
Again,
and
all
keeping it
in one
moving.
shot. All
Right.
in one shot. Like it was incredible. It was incredible. I had to keep asking you, bro. Like, are we still in the
Still in the
one
same.
shot?
Yep.
Because like I felt like I blinked multiple times, so I'm just like maybe they cut it off because there's no way that they are continuing the sequence as well as they handled it.
Right.
It was
And
it was crazy.
it's not, it didn't just resort to them because Soren, from the last episode, we see him with Halsey. And we were kind of like, oh, they about to go and have some intellectual checkmate. And we
Hmm.
were joking about it going right back to the Pirates. We ain't gonna
Hmm.
get the reach. Well, no, because less than not even a minute, they keep hearing the bombs go off.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden the simulation is shot, and they're like,
Yep.
okay, we need to get the heck up out of there. And
And I
Soren was like,
immediately said to you, I was like, bro, like how like stable is this place? Like, what are the chances they're gonna break out? And you were like, very high, very high. And I believed it, but the idea that they got out of there in like less than 2 minutes before they got to actually sit down and are forced to talk about the stuff, because obviously they were able to piece out things throughout their escape, but of course Soren wanted answers there and now, and I feel like it would have been really crazy to push the conversation and then kind of their dynamic further within that say 20 minutes that they had, but for them to break out right away and for us to be able to dive from action to action, from craziness to craziness, I feel like made the episode 10 times better because I feel like the pacing would have been terrible if they
yeah,
were bouncing between a conversation and then hellfire.
yeah.
It would have been really slow. It would have really damaged the episode. So I think they really made a good choice by having them kind of get out of there as fast as they did.
Yeah, I think that the approach of like slight jabs with real truth coming from Halsey and coming from Soren was perfect
Mhm.
because we got to get all the juicy details without the fluff. Like we didn't have to wait for it. Like the fact that Halsey was like, "Man, you were such an amazing, athlete. You like John looked up to you. Everybody looked up to you. It was a shame we had to let you go." Just that alone throws his whole balance off because for him, he's like, no, 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 no. What you saying, player? I escaped.
I
I
know.
took my own destiny in my own hands. I forged my own like life with my son.
Hmm.
Because initially she was like asking him like while they were kind of running away. That was before the heat was on him. Like, how's your son? Kind of like a little grandmother.
Hmm.
And the realization that he had when she basically was like, yeah, no, in dialogue, he was like, "How do you think you got out? That there was no security details around you to get you out."
Yeah, and that's I feel like that must have been so emotional, like so mentally damaging to him,
Yeah.
considering one of the biggest feats in his life, which was escaping captivity, if you will, um, happened to be a lie to him. It wasn't something he accomplished; it was something that was given to him. One
Yeah.
of the biggest things, the thing that could have possibly made him feel like a survivor, was taken from him in a matter of seconds.
Yep.
You know, and I don't know. I'm truly looking forward to the next few moments or next episodes, excuse me, that Soren and Halsey or John and Halsey are going to share. And
Oh yeah, because
yeah,
we got to go down that rabbit hole
yeah,
because once he got that realization, I think he had to have been torn because she could have killed him. She could have like counted him like as a failed experiment and just had
hmm
him assassinated or killed. But no, she let him go, and so that means that she has capability of remorse. And he had to realize that because there were several different occasions he could have just let her die. He didn't
and
have to keep her alive.
I think he saw that too because I think we saw how human she was when she
Yeah,
looked out at the city and saw the fall of Reach.
yeah,
The way she broke down, the way she actually gave a damn,
yeah,
I feel I don't know if I'm wrong, but that felt like the most emotion that we've seen where it wasn't something that was actually affecting her too much. Like obviously this is affecting her, but I feel like most of the stuff that she gets upset about are stuff that personally affects her. Things that are like for selfish reasons. But to see the city that she loves, kind of fall down like that was just must have been insane, and to see her react to that, I feel like was a kind of could have been like a wake up call to Soren, be like, okay, well, she's suffering right now. There's really not much I can do. She's already getting the pain that I wanted to cause her.
yeah. And I'll segue to that in a second, but I do want to touch on when they did kind of get into what was going on. It's like they got to the capsules, they saw Keys. He was like, get to the transport. And him and Keys had this weird in
Oh,
between moment. And he's like, oh, I'm human now. You're not just calling me a pirate
yeah,
anymore.
yeah, yeah.
And
He does
then,
step up.
right. And then they all had to get into the fight. And it was about preservation. And it's kind of like you have to remind yourself that Soren is still a Spartan. And so he's more than capable. And I was like, he's going to have to be the one to try to protect them.
Mhm.
And as soon as they got to the transport, I knew what kind of covenant was coming as soon as I saw them running like that. And I was like, oh, people are about to die. And it got really bad really quickly. But the segue to all this is, and the reason why I think what really crippled her is the love of her life just passed.
Okay.
And the thing about it, like he was holding her back and saying, like, look, he's gone. Like he read the room. He knew exactly what was going on. He knew before the creatures came what was going on. Sora knew.
Mhm.
But I got to talk about and give a huge salute to Keys.
Oh
This
man.
episode, from last episode, when he made the choice, the conscious choice to stay in, like it was like, wow, okay. But when he saw John, he's like, man, I didn't want to see you. I halfway thought you were going to be dead. Like, so I don't have to
Yeah.
sit there and eat this crow. But he immediately was all into business. He was directing, he was telling people what he needed to do, he was going all the different motions.
His monologue was
And
so well written. It was
right,
absolutely ridiculous.
like he started to really battle cry. It reminded me of a character on Attack on Titan. But I don't want to bring it up because some people have never seen Attack on Titan. But there's something about a leader leading a battle cry into a possible suicidal situation.
Mhm.
And for him to identify John, like outside of his suit, to say, no, this man, you're not alone. He is in the fight here. He's going to bleed right with us.
Mhm.
And they immediately were ready, after that. And it was just interesting because John had never gotten that kind of recognition because they're not supposed to. They're always hiding behind a mask, but now everyone knows what they're fighting with and who they're fighting for. And it was such like an amazing moment for Keys, down to him having the opportunity to see the love of his life again, opportunity to try to talk to John, and John's like, no, 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 we need you alive. Like there has to be someone to lead us. Like you have to fall back and let me do this. And he told him like, make it worth it. And all that to, unfortunately, his own demise, because he
Yep.
made the choice like, oh man, this needs to be refueled. But as soon as he saw that he was surrounded, he's like, if I don't do this, they're gonna get to the ship. And he
Even
made Perez
Soren,
make the choice. And I was
even
just,
Soren realized it was It was it, man. Like he
Yeah.
was like Halsey was like, we gotta help him. He's like, there's no helping him. Like
Right.
that's it, bro. And
Yeah.
I know this is kind of off topic, but I want to go back to how I was talking about how John has that whole response thing and the way he reacts so fast. We saw that when he saw Halsey for the first time. The immediate thoughts that we could see, like the face on Pablo, like the way the actors, you know, kind of showed the emotions in that moment, like there was a thousand things going on in his head, and the way he immediately shut it off when he realized they're still in the middle of a war. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's like he could have went up to her and asked her all these questions. Why are you here? What are you doing? And no, like John is just he's back in that mode. So it was really cool to see again another thing that I just really admire that he just goes back to that fight or flight thing. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
that's I think why I'm really excited for the next episode. I don't expect it to be as action packed, but we could have potentially as crazy dialogue moments as we did with Keys between Halsey, Soren, and John and Halsey. I don't know, man. It's still gonna be fun. I think this episode easily is my favorite episode of the series, but
Mhm.
I am still really excited to see what's gonna happen. I don't know if they'll top it, but I think it's gonna be really easy to get up there.
Yeah.
Like on the pace they're going at right now.
Yeah. I think the thing about John, and you said it and circled around it, is that if you let your emotions distract you even for a second, somebody's gonna die at any moment.
Hmm.
And it's like that ability to one, to judge a situation before it happens, and then two, how you respond to it. And I think that was key because Halsey was grieving and trying to process everything, and then they had to get themselves, they had to recollect themselves, and they kept moving. All of a sudden, the explosion happens, and the freaking elites are coming through, and like we're immediately in a firefight, and it's kind of like everybody's already lost someone. Like Riz has already lost two people, and effectively John has got to be emotionally compromised because he knows what just happened. And it was like, okay, we're in the fight, and then John has to go and get into the altercation with his rival, and then John gets shot, and the rival gets pissed at his dude, and then like a good soldier would, Vanek goes and tries to help him. Now, the gun that he was using is called a needler. The thing about the needler is that when you go and you pull the trigger on it, what it's supposed to do is these spikes are supposed to go and hit you, and eventually they explode. If
I
you hit,
feel like
if you,
I was familiar with that. I want to say I played like multiplayer, like for like maybe a couple games at one point. So when
Mhm.
I saw the gun, I immediately was like, "Wait, is this what I think it is?" But then again, I wasn't sure. But as soon as it hit one of the elites, I expected it to just explode, and then it didn't. So I was like, I'm tripping." And you were
yeah,
like, you immediately said, "Oh, you're gonna love this gun." And
yeah,
so when it did hit the elite, I was like, "Oh God, he's gonna blow up. It's gonna be awesome." And then
yeah,
they turn and he sticks it in Vanek. I'm
yeah.
he blew up. Of course, we saw what happened. And I'm like, I'm not sure if I like this gun. Like the introduction to this dope weapon ended up killing someone who I personally don't believe should have been killed. They did. I feel like there was so much more they could have done with this character. I feel like the development was barely there. There was so much more I wanted to know. The I feel like the most we even learned about this dude is the fact that he goes out of his way to feed these birds. And they showed that in this episode. I mean, other than that, we knew he was a funny fighter. Like there was just I feel like there was so much more. We got so much development with Kai and Riz. Not saying I deserved either. I think either one of them deserved to die. I'm just saying the one character that I feel like they didn't dive into, the one that I feel like had the potential to be such a fan favorite, and he already was, but like just so much more. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
just I'm a little disappointed that they chose him. If anyone, I just feel as though there was so much more they could have done with him. But at the end of the day, the emotion was still there. But I was just more like always like honestly confused. I was like, why him? Why him? You know?
I'm gonna say something real controversial, but I don't think they meant to do it. But I'm just gonna say it. They killed three black people in this. Three black people laid
Did
down their
they?
lives in this
Oh,
episode, and
that Tobias Keys and wow, that's a problem. Not during the month, man. We should probably
right.
talk about that.
Well, when this episode comes
Oh
out,
yeah,
it'll
my fault.
well, it may not be, but But yeah. Why you gotta kill the black folks? But nah. I mean, I think the thing about it is that they did give him some moments to show like his humanity. Because
Okay.
the thing about it, like last season, he didn't have it. Like he didn't have
Yeah.
it, but up until the last episode, and it was kind of just like we kind of get to see like his innocent side, like what he really valued. And I mean, he made a conscientious choice. And the thing about the needler, I knew as soon as because the thing is, if you fire one, like it's not going to do enough damage. It's like you have to have like a certain consecutive amount to stick in for it explodes. And I knew it wasn't going to do that much damage on the rival, which I'm not going to say his name.
I like knew you knew the name, and I'm like, I want to know more.
I'm not going to say his name.
Ah,
But it is a he. Um, yeah, dog, that's gonna be so crazy. But how Vanek went out at the very least, the last shot of him seeing the birds that he loved. I mean, I think that was really good.
yeah.
The thing about the episode, bro, it exceeded every kind of expectation we had. We're about to watch something completely different that we were very much so very excited about, and for this to hit like it hit at 12:30 at night for us, like, dude, like I was exhausted, and that just picked me back up. Like that was amazing.
The way you respond, like the way you reacted immediately, they're actually doing it. They really do. I'm like, doing what? Doing what? Doing what? And like as soon as I saw the city burning, like immediately I'm like, is this like the fall of Reach? Like I didn't know that was actually the name of it. I'm just like, it's what you would call like the city burning. So it's just, man, I can only imagine what you were feeling, but to see the way they handled everything, like visually, they did such a good job. And I was a little nervous seeing John, out of his gear taking on an elite, because when we have them in their gear taking on an elite, it like I'm pretty sure it just feels all CGI, like it feels all CG. So it's like not that that's a problem, but you can actually like tell like that some things look a little wonky, but at the end of the day, it's still really cool to watch. When we see John taking out one of these elites without any gear on, I don't know how they did it, but it was beautiful. It was amazing the way it looked. I mean, they pulled it off. I love the first interaction. Like I said, the way he tackled him through the glass, the way he was piecing him up, they killed it, bro. They actually killed it. And I think visually this was just an outstanding episode.
Yeah, I don't look. I'm gonna show two things, two pictures, and I don't know if they're going this route, but if they go this route in any way, shape, or form, this is gonna be a very interesting. They
Oh
may not,
man.
they may not, but I'm just saying that for what I got in this, even if they didn't, this was enough. Like you may. I think this is the thing I'll say for anybody that doubted the actor or their approach to the actor being without the helmet or without the armor. You see, this is Master Chief definitively. Like he put himself in so many different circumstances with nothing. For the longest time, he didn't have a gun. My man got
He pulled out
hatchet.
a 600-year-old weapon to them, which was an axe. They
Right.
literally said 600 years ago they used to cut trees with this, and I'm like, and right away, before I even knew this was an antique shop, I'm like, this is the most human weapon we're ever gonna see him have.
Right.
And dude, I really wish we got to see him go
Use that
crazy with
joint.
it. Like I was so upset that we didn't, but honestly, like I'm so happy with everything else. I mean, I just thought like, we were gonna see him go crazy with an axe, but she was like, put that thing down. It's 600 years old, and I think he respected that immediately. But oh my god, even though we didn't get to see him do that, like the way he ripped apart some of these elites.
Oh yeah,
Oh
he
my.
put one of the elites like from his jaw and then
Hmm.
broke his neck.
Oh my
Um,
god.
yeah, like some of the moments in this are going to be very memorable for this series, even if they make a third season or not. So I think this episode alone could save them to make a third season. I give this a 10 or A plus. This is my favorite episode of the series,
Yep.
personally.
I'm going with the same thing. It's a 10, A plus, 100% easily the best episode of the series. And I don't see them topping it this season. Not at all. Not at all.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Now I'm taking back my statement. Man, keeps doing that. Keeps doing that. Yeah, I didn't want to. I wouldn't have taken his word if he didn't promise that this episode or the next episode was going to be an actual bop. Like you straight up said, oh, the next 2 episodes are probably going to be insane. So I'm going to record our reactions just to make sure that it is, And your response to this proves that I'm in for a treat for the next 4 episodes, which is always great to hear.
Yeah. So Busy, where can everybody find your content, man?
Busy reactions, man. I mean, Busy Braun, but Busy reactions on Instagram. Of course, Busy Braun on YouTube and TikTok. And if you guys actually are willing to see me play through these games, I wouldn't mind streaming them. Like, I'll do it on my channel. So say the word and we'll do it. It's that simple. But I'm really excited to check out more Halo. And I don't know if I've been this excited. Like, I don't think I ever thought I would be this excited for this show. The way episode 4 went, man, I'm so ready. So ready for more. For sure.
Yeah. No, Busy, thank you for joining me late at night. This was impromptu.
Always,
we never planned to actually have watched anything tonight. We're about to watch something really secret really soon. But hopefully you guys enjoy this review and possible reaction. Go and check out it on Busy's channel. We got a lot more content coming. You just don't believe. And we'll be back. Peace, guys.
Filing out the top of the I can see the skyline, 50-mile radius on my timeline.